Fantastic, diolch Kerry. I was enjoying that musical interlude then. It made the lack of coffee and biscuits being passed around a bit easier to manage. Can I just start by saying a very sincere thank you to you all for coming this afternoon. We are very aware of how busy you all are. But this series of webinars really is designed to be helpful. They were born of feedback that we received from schools that everyone was working really hard, trying lots of different things. No one thought they had perfect solutions, but we're really keen to share practice that people have found to be effective and you know, share ways of working you may not have considered yet, or some tips and tricks to help you along the way. So I'm very grateful to Kerry-Ann and James from Bro Edern for hosting this afternoon. I've had the privilege of sitting through this webinar in Welsh once, which showed me that my Welsh is perhaps a little bit better than I thought, but still not quite good enough to join in with some of the activities. So I'm particularly looking forward to being able to have a go with them this afternoon. So rather than subjecting you listening to me, I'm going to hand over to Kerry, who will be far more entertaining than I, and I'm sure you'll all enjoy it just as much as I will. Thanks, Kerry.
Okay, diolch Louise. Thank you for the invitation to share Bro Edern's sort of latest experiences really in online learning and blended learning. Before I start my presentation and explain who I am, just you've all seen the screen I've shared. We find this is really handy in school. It will be handy when the pupils return to school. So I just wanted to talk you through this. You go to classroomscreen.com. So this is the first address for you to write down today. Classroomscreen.com, and literally you can add all sorts of widgets onto your screen. So you can see the options in the bottom there. You can add traffic lights. So, you know, if you're running different tasks and things, you can put the traffic lights on different colours. You can write words, you can hear, you can embed a video. So this is a video that I created, it's on YouTube. You can put a random name picker up on it. This is some of the staff from our training this morning. You can put a timer and also a countdown among all the other things that you can put there. So that's classroomscreen.com. So we are teaching live in Bro Edern all day. So the children are following their normal timetable. 8:54 first lesson starts. Our lessons are 53 minutes, and we teach them all day then until 3:20. So that's what we're doing at the moment and have been doing for a long time now. So we'd prepared for a short sprint, and now it's turning into a marathon, but we're still going. And this is really handy to, when the pupils are arriving and settling, you can put some tasks on the screen and things. And also it's a good way of running your activities during the lesson. So now I'm going to move on to my presentation here. So welcome officially to this CSE webinar, and as I said, thank you to the consortium for the invitation. Another question I always get is, oh, how did you create your PowerPoint? So the first thing is not a PowerPoint, it's Google Slides. We use the Google for Education in Bro Edern, so it's Google Slides, and you can go to various websites. So this is from slidesmania.com. Okay, Slides Mania, they're pretty, they're easy to use, you just write over them and then the job is done. Few of the others we use are Slides Go and also Slides Carnival. They're colourful and they're a really good way of engaging children and having something that looks colourful but is easy for you to create. So as you can see from the front screen, I teach modern languages. I'm a German and Welsh graduate. I was head of languages here in Bro Edern when Bro Edern opened as a new school in 2012. I'm assistant head here now in charge of digital learning and teaching and learning and communication with parents and various other things that have been really interesting over lockdown. So hopefully show you a variety of things today that will be relevant whatever your subject is. So the title officially is Engaging Learners and Ensuring Progress in Online Lessons. So hopefully we will be able to do that together this afternoon. Look at a couple of ideas and see how that looks. At the beginning of the last lockdown, lockdown 1.0 as we call it in Bro Edern, I went to a webinar with Doug Limov. I know he's doing some work with the consortium at the moment. I saw it on Twitter, happened to see, booked really quickly because it's sold out within about half an hour. I was in the right place at the right time. He's the author of Teach Like a Champion, and he just said about this, you know, everybody at the time was looking at how they were going to put their blended learning offer together as a school. And one thing he said, one thing is certain, that whatever we do, it will be wrong. So we've done lots of really good things, some things that haven't worked, and maybe you'll think, actually, that was really nice and that's not going to work in my school. Or maybe you think it's going to work and maybe it won't be a success the first time, and maybe it'll be a success with a different class. So, you know, be confident in your ability to try these things out. Maybe it won't work the first time. Maybe pupils need to get used to things, different ways of working. So, you know, the fact that it's wrong doesn't mean it's the end of the world, is what I would say there. Okay, so our focus areas for today: keep lessons going, engaging learners, and checking and ensuring progress. So I've talked you through that. I thought that was easier to do before we start. So that's the address once again, if somebody would like to write that down. The next thing I'm going to look at is interactive whiteboard. So now it's not going to be nice and tidy, this webinar, because I'm going to have to come in and out of my screen. So whiteboard.fi, or .v, as we say in Welsh. It's live for 2 hours, so you can go to whiteboard.fi. It'll create a board for you. You can go in and create a class, and then you just go in and then you give the address, okay, to the pupils. So I'm going to copy the URL now here, okay, and I'm going to take the URL over here and I'm going to put it in our chat. Okay, so everybody now can open the whiteboard, and hopefully you will be able to see what I am seeing. Okay, so you need to click on the link in the chat, or you're welcome to type in the address. Where's it disappeared to? Oh no. Yeah, whiteboard.fi/D4N64. So I can see that some of you are in. Danny, I think you were first in, so lollipop for you. Or Rhian may have been the first one in. So you can come in now. So you put your name and then your screen will appear. And then what I can do is that I've set up a series of whiteboards here. So you can either give them a blank whiteboard, obviously, and say 4 times 3, everybody write the answer. Or you can pre-populate your boards. Okay, so Kaylee can see here, she can write on it. Pre-populate boards. You can press push here, and you can see my screen, and you can push things to students as background. Okay. So you can see now you should be having your staves arriving with you. They're special staves with emojis. If I'll just push it once again, so make sure that everybody gets it. Sometimes some people on some networks will not receive them. Okay, so a couple of things to do. I want you to get a pen and to circle the emoji that best represents you. And then I want you also, this is a competition, the first person to write in the chat the word, the English word that is made up from the notes. So multitasking, either circle your feelings at the moment, or I want you to type in the chat. First person in the chat to tell me what does that spell on that stave. It's an English word. I've changed the Welsh presentation. Keeping an eye on the chat. Not sure who remembers there. Well done. T. Powys, Mynydd Cynffig Primary School, tells us quite rightly that it is cabbage. Da iawn. So that's the prize. So obviously, if you need to teach music, it's handy for you to know that there is a stave available, but there are also loads of other things you can do on these whiteboards. Okay, so we can see now you could do a check-in with emojis, how people are feeling. So you can go either on for the high notes, or you can also go for the pictures. But this sort of thing, you know, you can have a stave, you can have emojis, you can do whatever you want with them. So that's just one option. If you're teaching geography, or if you wanted to do any diagram work, map work, picture work, you can put any picture in. You can, you know, I've done a screenshot here from Google Maps, and then you can send the map out. Now the map should be arriving with you shortly. And now different people are having an issue. No, we're all got a map. So the National Eisteddfod is cancelled for this year, and it was supposed to be in Tregaron. What I want you to do is put a cross on the map to show us where Tregaron is. Then I want you to put another cross next to where you live. Okay, so once again, you can find the pen. And, you know, you can annotate things, write notes. Pupils can use this freely. So we're looking for Tregaron. We're also looking for a cross on the map for where you live. Lovely. So I think Emma Atkins, Vicky are the closest to Tregaron at the moment. I think some of you need geography. Somebody's put Tregaron in the middle of the sea, I think. Da iawn Angharad. Tregaron, yeah, it's Tregaron is here, sort of, what's that, southeast of Aberystwyth, right? And then you can put a cross. So once again, it's a picture, you know, you can do anything, any sort of work. So yes, it's a whiteboard, but here you can do all sorts of whiteboard work. So if you're a maths teacher, you could do hundreds and thousands of different things. So this is just one example. You can have a grid on it, which is quite handy. And then you can put, you know, I wrote, this is my writing. This is how it looked with on the screen. So once again, you can use this for multiplication or whatever you want to do. The children can write the answers in the boxes and try that out as well. So that is something else that, you know, is another possibility. So you could use that for creating graphs or tables or maths work. Some children I know in primary maybe need those boxes in order to be able to write numbers neatly and to line up the hundreds and tens and cannoedd, degau, unedau. I'm not sure what you call those in English. So I did my maths in Welsh. So you know, there are lots of boxes. I'm sure they'll be handy for you, whatever you need. Okay, then of course you could create yourself a Venn diagram. And you could obviously ask the children to compare the elements of two different things. I've got brownie points from the maths department who always remind the staff that you can't create a Venn diagram without a box around it. So a Venn diagram must have a box around it because things that don't belong in either circles need to belong then outside the circle, but in the box. Right, so the first question, Diane Rhian Hopkins, is the grid a screenshot? Or is it available? It is available here, yeah? So you choose the small boxes or the larger ones here. They are available in there, okay? Croeso. So once again, you could decide what you're going to be comparing here and then doing that. And of course, you could do some language work. Okay, so this is something I just made up. So you could write a text and you could ask the children to circle the errors. You could write something that is maybe a combination of various errors the children have done in their writing work. Emma, yours hasn't arrived for some reason. Not sure why yours isn't there. Okay, so once again, you can get a pen or the highlighter or whatever, and then you can use this then to circle the errors. And there are plenty of errors in there, I can promise you there. So, literacy work, but, because we're online with the children all day, I know if you're maybe in primary school and you just see them for half an hour, then maybe you don't really need to keep them going. But I do think it's a good way here. That is our terrible bell. So it is a good way, really, of you being able to judge who's engaging, who's able to find things, who's able to take part, who maybe doesn't understand. So it is a good way of checking understanding and ensuring that they're making progress and they're coming along with you. So, yeah, so that is basically whiteboard. So it can also be a whiteboard, of course, but you can also create the whiteboard and plan the things in advance. So there's a really good question by Rhian Hopkins. I think that's Rhian Hopkins, probably from Plas Mawr. You can, well, the frustrating thing is because it's free, the whiteboard is only live for 2 hours. So, for example, last night, I would have liked to have planned my whiteboards in advance, but I couldn't do that because I knew that by this morning that they would have disappeared. So that's quite frustrating. But what I do is I create things maybe in slides, and then I do screenshots. And what I do then is I put them in as a photo, so I can and then insert them on the whiteboard as images. Rhian Hopkins is justifying the fact that she's in the English language webinar because she missed the Welsh one. So lovely, Rhian, neis iawn I weld ti. Okay, so that is whiteboard.fi. There are no further questions about that. So I'm going to go on now. So these are the different examples. And obviously, because I got screenshots, I can also put them in here. You have a quick think, what could you do with the grid? All sorts of things. So I'm going to show you a quiz now. I know you've all come from the quiz. So I did an interactive quizzing webinar for the consortium last year. I think there is a recording of that. I'm not going to go over anything that I did last year. That was sort of like quizzing for beginners, and maybe this is the sort of next step along. So I'm going to show you something called Blue Cat, that's something we came across just before Christmas in school. And we'll just have a game, and then I'll show you maybe how it works. So we're going to play the gold quest. It's really exciting because you can steal money from other people. So I'm going to host the game. We'll play it for 3 minutes because I don't think we'll cope with any more. And then instructions, late joining, and random names. We don't want random names, we want real names. Okay, host now. So if I put the volume down. So you can either follow the instructions, or I'm going to copy the join link. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put it in the chat. So all you need to do now is click the link in the chat and it'll bring you straight in. So we want your name spelled properly with a capital letter, and then we'll be ready to start the game. So I'll play as well because I can't not play because it's too much fun. So well done, everybody's coming in really quickly. So, this is all about workflow, isn't it? The engaging pupils and stuff. Lots of it, I think, with online is about workflow and getting things sorted as quickly as possible. And one of the things, if you can copy links and put them straight in the chat, it does mean that the pupils get into things much, much faster. And then suddenly you're off on the next task, and then you're keeping that level of engagement. Okay, Bantani, now I think this is the one with all the answers are all, just trying to think, what game is this? The answers are all in place names, and they're all sort of, most of them are political questions, so I apologise in advance. Okay, somebody's saying Kaylee's in the lobby. Why is Kaylee in the lobby? I thought she was here. Right, we're going to start the game. Bant ni, pawb yn barod? Go. So we're gonna... And A. Williams, Porth Community, didn't stuck in the lobby as well. Can you see the messages, Louise?
I can. I was in the lobby until you started until it started playing, and then it let me in.
And Harad has just stolen my gold. How dare her? And Danny's just stolen my gold. Okay, A. Williams is now in, is she? Or her, he? But Rhian Hopkins, you should be able to see the questions on your screen or on your device. I'm not, if you're in school, are you on Cardiff's curriculum Wi-Fi? Because sometimes we have problems with that. If you're on public in Cardiff, it works, but if you're on Curric, it doesn't. So we just got over a minute to go, and everybody's stealing my money. It does help that I wrote the questions, so I do know the answers. Emma's just swapped my gold. How dare you? Right. Danny stole my gold again. 25 seconds to go, so we're nearly there. Well, I was third in my own competition. There we are. Angharad, second, da iawn. And then... that is the end of the day at Bro Edern. Right, no more bells. Vicky, llongyfarchiadau, congratulations to you. So this is Blue Cat. The reason I like Blue Cat is because you can export questions from Quizlet. So you go to Quizlet and you export them, you just copy them in, and it's really, really easy to make. So this is the webinar, and then when you go into host, then there are loads of different options, games you can play on the same vocabulary, okay? So these would all be options for you. This is new, I haven't played this yet, but this is definitely the favourite with our pupils. Okay, so you can see this is different vocabulary up to A-level stuff. They love pinching each other's money. All sorts of vocabulary for different ages here. Okay, so that's sort of, so it's called bluecat.com. It's free. It's a friend of Quizlet, so you can export. If you've got lots of sets already in Quizlet, you don't need to rewrite them. That you can then export the vocabulary from Quizlet without retyping it all. Okay, mlaen â ni. So that was number 3. So these are the different options. We're going to have a look now. So in the last webinar I did for the consortium on interactive quizzing, we looked at quizzes, 1Z, then 2Zs. That's how you spell it. In quizzes, it's brilliant. The feedback is really good, but you can run a full lesson in quizzes as well. And this is what I'm going to show you today. So instead of just running a quiz, you could actually plan a whole lesson interspersed by different questions. So if I'm going to start the live lesson here, you can also set it as asynchronous homework or as an asynchronous lesson. But we are live here today, and we are live in school as well. Different options here about the questions, but I'm going to just go for the normal questions. So what I need to do now is that I need to copy this. Okay, if you just want to follow the instructions, you can do that. But also, if I just paste this in here, joinmyquiz.com. Okay, and the number is this. Oh God, my blinking new computer is really sensitive. Copy. Right, some of you are in faster than I can actually put it in the chat, so dyna ni. Okay, I am. Oh, somebody's put 440458 as their name, but there we are, don't worry. So 10 of you are in already, brilliant, excellent. Louise, are you in yet?
Yeah, I'm the one who put the number as the name. That's me, guilty.
Okay, so I'm not sure how many people are here now. So most people, I think, are nearly in. Brilliant. Excellent. So, as I said, it's just to give you a flavour of how it works. So we can just start the lesson now. So you design the slides as if you were designing a PowerPoint or Google Slides. So you just start your presentation, and then you go and follow. Go like this. Okay, starting with a quiz. Ready to go. What day is it today? And then you can see who's answered. We're quick off the mark today. Ooh, da iawn. Everybody's in. And then you go to the next slide. We could see the leaderboard here. Oof, the fastest was Angharad. Da iawn, Angharad. And everybody, this is different from the Welsh webinar, where not everybody knew what day of the week it was. So the English medium webinar, everybody knows what day of the week it is. Brilliant. So you can see one of the question options you can have is a multiple choice question. And then for my second slide, I've got another question for you. So how many times do we need to get up again before the end of the week? This is presuming you work full time. So you can see the countdown clock here. You can set the time, so you can set much more time if you want. I think we're waiting for one, and we're in. Lovely, brilliant. And we can see now who's on the leaderboard. So obviously there are marks for accuracy, and there are also marks for speed. So Kaylee, our new friend, is there 4 times. You need to get up again before the end of the school week. Right, depends how you count a week, I suppose. There we are. So we go on now. You can then, obviously, if you're running a whole lesson this way, you can put slides in. And I'm saying, you know, people usually go away over February half term, and I usually go to see friends of the family in Colchester. We go to the zoo. My son is 8. We love the zoo in Colchester. And yeah, so we didn't do that this year. So we're going to discuss now another question. And this question is a poll. Okay, so there's no correct or incorrect answers. How did you spend the half-term week? So this is, I've given you more time this time to think about. Nobody's broken the COVID rules, thank goodness. Oh, somebody's admitted to breaking COVID rules. Okay, so we can just have a look here now. So if you wanted pupils' opinions about things, about various things, then you obviously would be able to set up a poll where there isn't a correct or an incorrect answer. This is obviously not marked. And then you can see then, you know, opinions or ideas about various things. Yeah, so most of you have been reading, followed by exercising and sleeping. Okie dokie. And on we go. So also you can have bullet points. So obviously we've come back from half term into Lent, which is always great. Lent is the only time in the year when I manage to give up chocolate, sweets, biscuits, all those things. Oh dear me. Yeah, so there we are. So you can have bullet points, okay, and you can present information like this for your pupils, this sort of thing, okay. So anything to do with Strava, the staff in Bro Edern are totally obsessed with Strava at the moment. We've got a challenge going in Bro Edern. We've set it for the children, a pilgrimage to St David's, ready for St David's Day. So they have to do 111 miles or 178 kilometres of walking, running or cycling by the end of March. So that's what we're on. We're on Strava Central here. So this is another option. Yes, you can join in. I'll send you the spreadsheet to fill in. Yeah, so this is another thing, you know, if you're running a normal lesson, you can have bullet points, they appear one at a time. Okay, so then this is a post-COVID half-term idea. Okay, and the question is, where is this house? So this is another option where the pupils can then look at something and they need to write an answer and type in. So this is another option. It doesn't need to be multiple choice. It can be like a completely blank canvas for the children to be able to retrieve any information. And this is another option that you would be able to use. So only 4 seconds to go. 3, 2, 1, quick. Oof, right, time's up. So where is this house? Well, we see the leaderboard first. Ooh, there's some big changes here. Emma is on the top. The correct answer is Windsor, because that is the White House in Legoland. It's not the White House in Washington, D.C. Okay, so you can see the question view here. Okay, you can also look at chart view, responses view. You can see how people have answered. So the couple have answered, I accepted London, Legoland, Legoland with 2 words. I also accepted. I put all the options that I was going to accept in there, and anything to do with America and USA, Washington, they were all wrong. I'm sorry. And then here we can see back to the participants. But here we can see 10 of you have worked out that that was in Windsor. Brilliant. Okay, so this is the last slide. We want to end the lesson. And then you can see here, it's really good for assessment for learning. You're able to see who's scored well, and you can look at the reports as well, which is quite handy. You can see the accuracy, and also you can look at it via questions. Okay, so you can see here which questions are causing problems. Obviously I need to revise with my class the difference between the real world and Legoland, but apart from that, everything else is looking okay. Just we need to clarify when the beginning and the end of the week is, and what I actually mean by that. Maybe the question hadn't been asked properly enough, so you can go through that and look at that. But the feedback in there is really good, I think. Yeah, and quizzes are really good as well. Quizzes is a good way of running a quiz. Because the feedback is excellent in there and you can do that. But also people are not maybe aware that you can run a whole lesson, do lots of talking and slides and explaining stuff, and then go back to check understanding as you're going along. Okay, Bantani, so full lessons in quizzes. So that gives you the link there, quizzes.com. Another thing I promised Louise I would talk about is monitoring progress and ensure that pupils make progress. So we're moving away from sort of quizzes and sort of interactivity like that. I just want to show you here some work my Year 10 class have been doing, and it's a really, really good way of checking up on them. So Year 10. So what I did is I set up one slide that looked like this originally. Actually, I've got a demo CSC slide in English. So you would set up a slide like this. Focus of lesson, you write in there, and then you'd write, please write here. And then you'd write the name massively there and ask them to overwrite this, okay? So that's really important that it's big and that they then overwrite their name there, and then this would be pre-populated. And once you'd fill this in, okay, so if, for example, I was going to say, the focus of the lesson is German verbs, always is, right. And then you go right-click on here, okay, right-click, and then slide the blig is duplicate slide, okay? So you just create duplicate slides for everybody in your class, and then you can highlight 4 of them, and then press duplicate slide, and then you have 4 more, and then you go down and down and down until you have a slide for everybody. And then what I asked the class to do is to grab a slide each, Bagsy a slide, and then write their name on it, okay? Now, then in the next lesson, we all have a new slide, and then we had a new slide again. But, you know, a really easy way is to keep an eye on this. But if you go to the bottom here, rather than keeping an eye on in this normal, this is the normal view, but if you click on this, suddenly you can see everybody's work at the same time. And literally you can live in the work with the children. You can say, you know, you haven't written enough. So you can keep on looking at their work and seeing what they've written. And it's a really, really handy way of monitoring their progress. So because, you know, we don't set our pupils' work and then just let them go and do it. We sit there watching them, cajoling them, keeping them going. If they need any help, we're always there. They can ask something out loud. They can put a question in the chat. And then here, obviously, we can see we've done the original slide about Prinians, and then we've written a slide here in the past tense. The next slide here is ready for us to do the future tense. That's already here. And then it's just really handy, and I do it with them. So if they're not quite sure what they're doing, they can see what I've typed and have some ideas. And then we've sort of color coded them with past tense verbs and all sorts of things. And it's just a really, really good way if you want them to write. You know, they're at home now, they're really fed up is the message that we are getting. They've been home a really, really long time. They're seeing Easter eggs in the shops for the second time of lockdown. So it's a really good way of keeping them going and encouraging them and helping them along. And the other thing here is MOTE. I would really Google this, M-O-T-E. This is an extension you can arrange here, and then you can put feedback. In case you press this and it's not working. Why on earth is that not working? Here, and press this one here, and then you can record a voice message. Okay, so I can say here, da iawn Ceri, mae'r gwaith ma'n hyfryd, ti'n deall y berfyn dda, and I give myself some feedback and I go done. Okay, and then the MOTE is copied to the clipboard, and then I can then go to my slide here. Okay, right, if I got rid of that for a minute now, then you can either put a, okay, the message is there, okay, or you can record it and then it'll arrive on the slide. Hello Ceri, da iawn ti, gwych, gwaith da iawn, and then done, and then yeah, once again that hasn't appeared. Yeah, so you can here. Okay, so it records and then it gives you a link straight away, and then pupils will be able to click on this and then they'll be able to listen to the feedback straight away. So if I go to present mode here, I can go here and it goes straight in, so the pupils would be able to, yeah. Da iawn Ceri, mae'r gwaith ma'n hyfryd, ti'n deall. Right, so you get the drift. So that's really handy there, that we would be able to then, is really good. You know, I can put myself on mute, okay, here, so that they can't hear me. While they're working independently on the screens, I can see who's going, and then I can record feedback to them and record it there so that the others, they can listen to it themselves then at home. So that is something that is really, really handy. Yeah, so it's just this little button here. So at the bottom, this is the normal view and this is the grid view, okay? And it's just a game changer, really. It's something so simple where you can keep track of what they're doing. Obviously, you could put them all in different slides, but I think they're juggling in and out and you can only see one at a time. Here gives you a really good overview of your whole class by doing that. So I have created a demo one, an empty one. So if I go now, focus of lesson, get rid of the German verbs, and if I now get rid of all of the other slides, okay, so we're back to one slide, and then I'm going to do this. I'm not sure if you know this. So, you know, the addresses are really wrong and really stupid. So if you get rid of the end bit, yeah, everybody look really carefully now, with a /edit. So you get rid of that and put here copy, okay? And then you then highlight that. So if I now put that link in the paste in the chat, so if you click on that now, it will create a copy for you. So you don't write on mine, you have your own personal copy of it. Yeah? No? Because if I go back to my screen here now, if I paste that in here, paste, it'll say, would you like to make a copy of demo CSE English webinar? And then I can have my own personal copy then. Yeah. So does that work, Louise? Yeah, I can see you on my screen. So brilliant. As long as you're nodding, that's great. Okay, so the link for this document, obviously it's one slide with 2 boxes and a large name. So you can obviously create your own much more prettily, but I do think that if you want to do some serious writing, something really plain is really handy, because once they start playing with it anyway, you know. So if you give them something plain, it really focuses them on what they really need to do rather than playing with the settings and the colors and things. So yeah, so that's one way of like ensuring progress, really good way if you want them to do some writing, a couple of paragraphs, cut it up, break it up, one thing at a time, and then that's a really good way of doing that. So this is the monitoring progress, showing you here the different slides that you have at the bottom, and then this is a screenshot that you've already seen, and then so you create a master of slide 1, right click to duplicate it, and it's really easy then. This is the view at the bottom to ensure progress. Okay, so it's 3:43. No, 3:44, as I was saying that. So the last thing I want to show you today, you're probably thinking, thank goodness for that, is something called Woo Clap. We think that it sounds like a really dodgy illness. There are loads of options in Woo Clap. Okay, so this is the one I've set up. I've set up a woo or a clap, I can't remember which one. And you can have, once again, multiple choice questions, polls, find things on image, a couple of other things that are really good. You can create a wide word cloud, a crowdsourced, open questions, ratings and things, really, really handy. Match things up, prioritize. So we're going to have a go at this now. So I am going to go here. So the address is here. So once again, I'm going to copy this and I'm going to put it straight in the chat. Once again, for ease of access for pupils, straight in so they can click on the link. So the link to the Woo Clap has just appeared in the chat. And then you can put your name in there. And I am going to start our activity, and I can see that there are 17 of you already in here. You're really good, fair play, and you know what day of the week it is, so that's really great this afternoon. Okay, so 18 of you in. So once again, you can see, I don't know why on earth they're bothering with this. Why would you want to contact the game by SMS? But this is the address. Okay, so I've pasted that into the chat. And I'm just giving you a flavour now of the different types of activity that you would be able to hold. depending on what sort of focus you want, what you want the children to do, what you want them to remember, what you want them to be able to retrieve, to recall. So off we go. So ready, everybody looking at their screens. So the first option is a word cloud. So absolutely, anybody who isn't feeling tired is not doing their job properly. Oh, somebody's relaxed, happy. I'm glad you're happy. Brilliant. Need coffee. I don't drink coffee, so yeah. So let's see some more words. So obviously several people typed tired at the same time, and what happens is that the more people that type the same thing, the bigger that word becomes. A few more people typing tired, it'll probably go off the screen. Okay, so once again, it's a really good way. So if you're doing some creative writing with your pupils, and you're looking for, you know, wow words, or what you're looking for, adjectives or verbs or words that will cause tension. You know, if you want them to use really technical language in science or in technology, and you want to use this well, ask them for these words. You know, at this point, I don't think the children can actually automatically come up with necessarily what you're looking for. You know, the just fed upness really of being at home. So I think things need to be done in stages at the moment to get the best out of children at the moment. And this is one really good way of you asking them, right, I want loads of, and you could say, you can count down, you say, right, I'm going to give you 10 seconds, and then you give a countdown, and then everybody clicks the words at the same time, and they all appear at the same time. And because of course, since when somebody's written tired, then loads of people could copy, and I'm sure you can do like different countdowns and things. And then you could say, right, we have 3 separate words. So the first word comes now, and then they all send it through, and the second one. And then you ask them maybe to go for a pointless answer. Think of a word that nobody else will come up with. And then that would be a way of getting different feedback. Overwhelmed, oh no, please don't be overwhelmed. Somebody's inspired, that's okay. Somebody's stressed, I hope not from the webinar. Somebody's feeling relaxed and energized. Don't be overwhelmed. Stay at the end for a chat. You can just do one thing at a time at the moment with these new activities. And obviously, you know, I spend all day, every day dealing with it. So please, please, please don't feel overwhelmed. And also, if you can train to be a teacher and you have the ability to do A levels and a degree, then there's definitely, you can run a quiz on a website. Okay, so please don't feel overwhelmed. It really is manageable, and it is really much easier than it looks to be able to run activities like these. Okie dokie, Bantani, next activity. So this is where you ask pupils to give things 5-star ratings. So, you know, you can think across the curriculum, the activities where they need to give things scores, or you can use this as a well-being exercise. You ask them to do this, where they need to give themselves star ratings, and this is obviously silly, but this is just to show you how it works. And the first results are coming through. So 5 stars, full marks at the moment, are our ability to eat snacks. Absolutely. And do you know what, this morning, I did this morning with the staff as well. The state of your nails came out really badly this morning as well. Hair is not looking good at the moment. Totally agree. Mine never looks good, even in a non-lockdown stage. It just, at least by this time of the day, Louise, it's dry, because Louise has seen me plenty of times in meetings with wet hair in the morning. Yeah, so people are school clothes, yeah. At the moment, anything goes. Nails not looking good. Hair, yeah. Brilliant. So you can see how this works. And what it does, it works out the average. I'm not sure you're supposed to use. Oh no, somebody can't access the questions. Now, Yvette, are you in Cardiff is one question. And if you're in Cardiff, are you on curriculum? That's one question I would ask. It's maybe, no, you're not in Cardiff, or maybe not in curriculum. I'm not sure what's happening your end. It would depend on your device.
Sorry, I discovered I had to scroll because I tried to submit because I didn't realise, didn't see the bottom two, but it just had to scroll down and they appeared, but there wasn't an obvious scroll. I just used my mouse and I found them. So it could be that.
Okay. Thing is, I don't know what device, I'm not sure if you're on your phone or if you're on a computer. Yeah, sorry, Yvette. If you can let us know a little bit more. So the highest rating here is for the ability to eat snacks and the lowest score is for our hair. Okay, that's probably what we were expecting. You can also have it, you can have it like this, or you can also have it here. One of these, I don't know what they spider's web things is what I call them. We've used them for Welsh back. They're quite handy for the children to evaluate their skills as well. Okie dokie, Bantony. Next one. This is where you can find things. Okay, somebody's saying, Porth County are calling. I managed it using the arrow keys in case that helps. Where is Bro Edern? My friend Emma should know where Bro Edern is. No, we're not in Cardiff Castle. Somebody stick a pen in Cardiff Castle there. Where is Bro Edern? Nobody else venturing. Come on, Emma. No, we're further up than that. So this is, presumably, this could be handy for geography teachers. Maybe it's not going to be handy for geography teachers. But you can do finding something on a map. Okay, like we did. Okay. Oh, Emma's frozen. Oh, dear me. Okay. So if I show you here, this, can you see here, Llanedin Road? We're here on Llanedin Road. Okay, so we're in northeast Cardiff. Bro Edern serves the east of Cardiff, so sort of this patch here, Roath Park Lake, and then Llanedin, Tremorfa, Splot, Adamsdown, over to Rumney, Llanrumney, St Mellons. We have a very, very mixed and interesting and rich catchment area. Some extremely wealthy and some extremely poor children come to Bro Edern. The catchment area is, we have both extremes, as do all Welsh medium schools. Yeah, so this is where we are right here in northeast Cardiff. Right, off we go. Right, some similes. I'm sure you've learned some of these in primary school. So this is a matching exercise. So I've created it as a simile matching exercise, but you can also match anything. You could have definitions and words and definitions. You could have maths questions, you know, and answers. You could have translation, one language and the other, matching those up. So anything you need to match, this is an option for you. Okay. So I think one person has submitted all the answers already. And because I can see at the bottom of my screen, so there are 19 of you in Woo Club at the moment. And I can see then who has answered and what's coming through. Yeah, 7 of you have answered now, so that's great. So there, you can see there are more of them down here. I've given you 10, have I? What was I thinking? It was half term. So, yeah. Yeah, 13 have come through now. So we'll give you a minute or so because there's a lot to take in there. Okay, if you need to go, obviously, please go. We've nearly finished, so absolutely, please don't feel you need to apologise in the chat. You can go on your way because I realise some people may have meetings after school and things. So, yeah. So 15 of you have answered this now. I give you 16. So I will give you 10 seconds. If you don't think you're going to finish in 10 seconds, don't bother. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then here on the left-hand side, we can see the correct answers. Okay, so 100% of people know it's as light as a feather, but not as fresh as a daisy. Okay, so you can see here, as bright as a button and as proud as a peacock. So those are as a sort of example that you would be able to do. Okay, and you could use that then to work out what you needed to concentrate on again. Okay, if you were organising an assembly, which words would be the most important ones? So you need to prioritise them now by ordering the words. So once again, if you were doing work with children, thinking about, you know, I don't know, if you're doing evacuee work in primary school or something, what things would they need to pack and take with them, and then they would be able to rank things, but also priorities in problems and problem solving and all sorts of things that you would be able to do here in your lessons, I'm sure. So, you know, have a quick look at it, don't take it too seriously, and then we can get the answers through, and then we can have a look then at what people are saying. So it's really interesting. In the Welsh language one, all the words start with C. And in our assemblies, there's like a running joke in Bro Edern that all our assemblies about words starting with C. So cymorth, a cymrydran, a cymreictod, a caredigrwydd, all these words are here, cyfeillgarwch. So there we are. Right, we'll have a quick look at these then. So there are no correct answers here, but I think people have put lunch at the top. Yeah, fine. Okay. Now there's a more sophisticated version of this where you can give them words and they need to give them a value. So you have 100 points to distribute between these so that you can give them a ranking. Okay, so you distribute your 100 points. You have to get rid of your 100 points. Right, Yvette is saying, thanks to the Porth Massive, scrolling with the arrows has worked. So Porth obviously understand these things. Diolch yn fawr. A. Williams in Porth. I'm not sure if A. Williams is a man or a woman. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Scrolling with the arrows has worked. So once again, you need to work out with your pupils what works on the devices, how is this going to work. You need to trial it, and this is why it's really handy for you today to see this from the point of view of the pupil. Where are the problems, where are the issues? So we're going here. Angharad, oh, this is Angharad from Porth. Okay, gwych. Da iawn, Angharad. So we are going for the kindness, followed by friendship. Okay, so once again, I'm sure you could come in your subject, you could come up with loads of different reasons why you could use this to give something a value. And, you know, sometimes you ask pupils to rank things and it's like, when they're fairly close, well, they can give one 20 points, another 19 points, and then see what the rest of the class does. So we can see now here, this can then sort them for you and then put them back as they were. Okay. Another thing you can do in Woo Club is you can embed a video. So I'm going to show you this. It's a minute and a half. We've nearly finished now. I need to take in what is there in Berlin. This is what you need to take in now. What is there? Okay, so you don't need to understand German because you can see the pictures. And some of you have probably been either on a hen night or a stag night there. So yeah, it's where I did my year abroad when I was a student. I went to Germany for the year. So take in the pictures because you're going to need the knowledge for the next activity. So Bahnhof is train station, the Reichstag. Okay, and this is the cupola on top of the Reichstag. And the Tempodrom where they play basketball and cycling, all sorts of things. The Brandenburger Tor, the Sony Centre. This is the Natural Kunda Museum with the dinosaurs. The Philharmonie concert space. Gendarmerie, that's the equivalent of Harrods, that's Cardiff. The Sony Centre. The Adlon Hotel, where Michael Jackson dangled the baby out of the window. And then there's various swimming pools and open air swimming pools and a pool in the middle of the river, of course, and the underground. And I think that is it. So that's done. So what we're going to do now, I'm going to ask you now to recall that information, but rather than just making a list for me, I'm going to ask you to categorize them, okay? So you can write anything you want, either in the category of education, the arts, religion, sport, politics, or history. So this is really good, a different way of recalling information, but or asking children to categorize. Okay, and then this could mean then you need to write me 6 paragraphs about Berlin, and then everything is in the right place. Okay, so yeah, so once again, the first answers are starting to come through. You can send multiple answers through into the right categories. Okay, so the Reichstag is here under politics, and then we have got the university and the museum under education. Okay, so a couple more people to send some things through. The university is appearing, yeah. The picture of the Humboldt Universität, I think, was in the presentation. Museum, I'm not sure you spell it like that, but there we are. Yeah, so lovely. So we've got the Olympic Stadium, the outdoor swimming pools. We've got the Brandenburg Gate appearing here. So once again, I'm sure that you can think of loads of different things where you would need different categories of vocabulary or ideas or facts. And then you set up your own categories. You can decide how many categories you want on WooClap. You name the categories, and then the activity runs itself. I thought it would be good to give you the flavour of the video and then to use that then to recall some information. Okay, so people are sending the answers through. I'm sure you don't need to see any more of that at the moment, because I am aware we're now reaching the hour or just past the hour, and then there is a gap fill here. Okay, so you just put a word in the gap, and that is a really simple way. So the answers should come through pretty quickly on this one. See how many various answers we can have. Okay, so you can see here then the answer is capital, and then that's 100%. Okie dokie. So that is WooClap. That's the whole lot of the options. There are other options in WooClap, but those are the ones I've demonstrated today. The best thing is just to go in and play with it. And as I said, it really, really isn't hard to set up. You just need to think of the ideas, but really importantly, what you're trying to teach, what you're trying to achieve, what you need the children to remember, and to go from that. It's not just for the sake of creating a quiz. It needs to be an end game to this. So yes, so that was that. So my name is Kerry. I work in Bro Edern. I go home occasionally, but the rest of the time I'm to be found here. If you'd like any more information, please send a tweet through, or my Twitter is at Kerry Anwen. I'll write that in the chat now. Okay, so that's my Twitter handle, or whatever it's called. So please feel free if you need any more information, or if you'd like a chat. And then I'd like to wish you all the best for the forthcoming half term. So yeah, good luck. Let's see how it pans out if the children come back. 11 and 13 possibly coming back very soon. But in the meantime, I think some of these things are here to stay, whether we're going to be online or whether we're going to be live with the children. They're going to be things that can stay. So I would suggest that maybe you're looking into a couple of those. So thank you very much for joining us today and for supporting the consortium and the activities in the consortium. And thanks to Louise for the invitation.
Yeah, no, really sincere thank you.